Jai Ma Kamakhya, Jai Bhairava, Jai Madara. One of the most important rituals in Shakta Tantra is known as Kumari Poojan, where basically a little girl, pre-puberty girl, is worshipped, assuming that she is the physical manifestation of the Divine Mother. This ritual is so important, so powerful, so impactful that almost every single tantra mentions details of Kumari Pujan, that without a Kumari Pujan, the puja, the whole ritual of Devi Upasana is never complete. From this, over time, the idea came that in Navaratras in North India especially, little girls come to different homes on during Ashtami and Navami, and they are given gifts and food and other things to make them happy, and they in turn, by making them happy, we believe that the goddess becomes happy. This is not something that is a lokachara, which means that a customary thing that came up in society, but this is something that has very strong basis, both spiritually as well as from the texts, scriptural backing, to be honest. In fact, scriptures go to the extent of mentioning that different Kumaris, different age of Kumaris are suitable for different types, different forms of the goddess. In fact, every single Kumari that is worshipped is almost like some of the other manifestation of the Divine Mother, or some of her forms, one of the Mahavidyas. And when they become spontaneously happy, when the puja is done, when they're fed, satisfied, and they're fed and they're given gifts, etc., and they become spontaneously happy, remember that spontaneous happiness is more important than in cases where they're trained to behave in a certain manner. Sometimes I've seen that in certain Kumari pujas, the Kumari is already told that after you receive the gifts, you just bless the person in a certain manner and behave in a certain manner. That is all kind of dramatized, or that is more like you are taught what to do. That is not impactful. But spontaneously, when the Kumari becomes happy, that is a sign that the deity, the Devi whom you are worshipping, the specific form, is also pleased on you. This ritual is so terrific that in fact in all sadhanas, Devi sadhanas that I do, I specifically mention to people whom I guide, as well as for myself, that after the sadhana is complete, try and feed, either if you can do a Kumari Pujan, that is very good. If not, at least feed some little girls, because that brings you immense amount of blessing. There is no doubt about it. I mean, anything, any gift that you can give them, any whatever it is. A little girl is the purest thing, purest physical manifestation of the Divine Mother. In fact, uh, it so happens that when a Kumari Pujan, when a proper puja is done, after you finish a ritual, say you have done a mantra sadhana for a certain number of days or any Devi Upasana, and after that you are worshipping the Kumari, and the worship is done properly with the right kind of attitude, devotion, and faith, and the belief that it is not the Kumari, in fact, it is the Devi herself who is taking the worship, then various times many of the yoginis that surround the great goddess, in very subtle manner, enter into the mind of the Kumari, and through her bless the Upasaka. This is a phenomenon that happens quite often, provided your sadhana is correct and provided you are doing the ritual as it is meant to be done in the right kind of mindset. In a traditional setting, when Kumari Pujan is to be done, basically the little girl sits down and on her feet, yes, you first wash her feet, clean her feet, and then on that feet, on her feet, you invoke every single deity that is there, every single, whether it's Brahma, whether it's Vishnu, whether it's Shiva, whether Surya, Navagrahas, whether any of the Ashtabhairavas, whether any being, Gandharvas, Yakshas, any kind of being, everybody is invoked on her feet. And then with flowers, with kumkum, with whatever else, akshat, etc., you invoke them and you worship them and believe that the whole universe, all Shaktis in the universe reside in the feet of the Kumari. In fact, it is such a beautiful ritual that when you do it in the right bhava, it actually causes a transformation in the sadhak who is doing it. And the goddess because we're extremely happy when the Kumaris are worshipped. That is why it is mentioned in so many texts. In fact, if you go to Kamakhya, you'll see that um, this itself is a puja that is done by so many people. I, in fact, recommend that those who go to Kamakhya for the first time should definitely do one Kumari Poojan if possible. If not, then at least feed some Kumaris a little bit, anything. It could be, some food, some gifts or something. Because once the Kumaris are happy, the blessings of the goddess definitely comes to the Upasaka. There is no doubt about it. A Kumari represents the sum total of all the Shaktis that are present around the goddess. And the goddess is so powerful that a mandala has every kinds of beings, every kind of energies present all around. All that is gathered together. And when she becomes happy, all the Parivar Devatas also become happy on the Upasaka. So Kumari Pujan is one of the most fundamental steps in Devi Upasana. It is almost like the way you would see, like, to judge the parameter of the, it's a way to judge the efficacy of the puja that you have done. It's a way to ensure that whether what you have done is complete, is accepted by the goddess, or there is something left. In fact, there are many more nuances of Kumari Pujan. Everything I will not be mentioning in the video, because for people who are doing it for the first time, or for upasakas who are new, this will confuse you and you will start missing, trying to look for nimittas here and there. But broadly speaking, if the Kumari Pujan is not something where the Kumari is taught to behave in a certain manner, it's done spontaneously, organically. If the Kumari comes and you are able to do the puja, and then when you take the blessings of the Kumari by touching her feet, and if there is a spontaneous happiness in that little girl, take it for granted that it is the goddess whom you are worshipping and her yoginis who are happy on you. And automatically there will be good blessings and progress in sadhana that is going to come. There is no doubt about it. Sometimes while doing Kumari Pujan, and if it is in the right frame of mind, so basically Kumari Pujan is done normally after the Pradhana Puja is completed of Devi, whether if there is Bali, Homa, etc., whatever steps are there, everything has been completed, then the Kumari Pujan is done, because Kumari Pujan gives you an indication of whether your puja has been accepted or not. That gives you the clearest indication of where you stand with respect to the goddess, what is her will. Very clearly you will understand. In fact, I remember long back, I was doing a Kumari Pujan in Kamakhya, and in the middle, suddenly a thought, a mantram of a certain Mahavidya came, and I told the priest who was getting the puja done, sitting next to me, to wait for some time. I did one mala of the mantra in front of the Kumari, and the reaction of the Kumari at that time gave me a very clear idea that this form of Devi, this form of the Mahavidya, wants that I should be doing her Upasana in some or other capacity in the coming months. And I did that, and it brought very fantastic fruits and results. Kumaris are like this. A, a little girl who has not yet reached puberty is almost the living manifestation of some or the other form of Devi. Long back, I had an experience. I remember inside the Garbhagriha of Kamakhya, where there was I think I've mentioned it before as well. There was a little girl who had come for darshan, and as I bent down to touch the water, jalasparsha is the key thing in Kamakhya. She suddenly came near my ears and started chanting a certain mantra, and I felt it was quite stunning, because something like that had never happened before. And then I came out of the Garbhagriha, the mantra kept playing in my head, and I called up a very senior Upasaka of the Shakta Marga and said that such and such experience happened, this thing happened, and this is something I've not experienced before. And he advised me that take this as a form of mantra upadesh from the Devi herself, because she and her yoginis influence Kumaris very easily. In fact, it's possible that the Kumari herself will not remember later if you ask her, because in that crowd, in that small space of darshanam, why she did that, what came into her mind, nobody knows. And then I was advised to do a full mantra anushthan of it. I did lakhs of japa of the mantra, homa, tarpana, marjana, everything I completed of that mantra. And the day I finished it, I had one of the most powerful spiritual experiences in Kamakhya, which I still remember. I I I almost saw a form of the goddess. I was pulled into a certain zone, an area, and I found a form of the goddess sitting down there. It was extremely powerful, and it's difficult to describe beyond a certain point the kind of energy that was present, the that encircled her at that time. But the point of this experience, connecting it to what I'm talking about, is that Kumari Poojan is one of the most powerful and beautiful things. We at Kamakhya Bhairava Upasaka Foundation, whenever we do any Vishesh Pujas in Kamakhya, as we do almost every year, certain pujas of the Mahavidyas and certain pujas to Chandika and other forms also, Kamakhya, we ensure that there is always at least one Kumari Pujan done, because by doing the Kumari Pujan, lot of doshas are also removed from an individual. Not only that, we get to know what is the will of Ma Kamakhya, or the Devi of the Adhishtatri Devi of that Pitha, how she what she feels and believes, and how she reacts to the prayers that we are doing, whether she is happy or whether she wants that we should change something, etc. But by worshipping the Kumari, by worshipping uh, the feet of the Kumari with complete devotion and absolute faith, lot of doshas, specifically with respect to horoscopic afflictions of Venus, or curses of Venus for that matter, or those who have problems with respect to their family life and other various other kind of doshas. But more importantly, if there are curses on Venus, those get rectified very easily when the Kumari becomes happy on the Upasaka. So this is both a spiritually uplifting ritual as well as a method by which one can mm, remove various kinds of obstructions that one may face with respect to afflictions of grahas, particularly of Shukra. Shukra is, remember, one of the gurus of the marga. Both Jupiter is a guru as well as Shukra is a guru. And any affliction to Shukra is going to cause problems with respect to finances, with respect to harmony, happiness. These things are all controlled by Shukra. Worshipping Kumaris, maybe not once, multiple times, depending on the degree of affliction in the chart, helps to overcome this dosha. And not only just worshipping the Kumari, after the washing of the feet of the Kumari and the pujas are done, with that water one must do abhishekam on one's body and head, everything. Then only the curse completely removes. And maybe not once, but depending on the intensity, it could be one Kumari, nine Kumari, or more Kumaris. Or it is a ritual that has to be repeated on multiple Fridays for a certain period of time in order to ensure that the difficulties and the blockages are removed. And how difficult it is to get the ritual done, or how the Kumari behaves during the course of the ritual, will tell you further of what is the intensity and the nature uh, of the problem that is carried from past lives. Jai Ma Kamakhya, Jai Bhairava, Jai Madara.